What's up, guys? Jonathan here, bringing you a deck profile and a guess a tournament report for Dark Worlds, finishing off the September list for the September format, but the build is extremely friendly towards the new January format, and I think I will continue to play at least this build with the same ratios. There's a few cards that you can replace, but other than that, this build has been working just fine. This is the build that taught my locals this last Saturday. Took first place once again. Out of the 4 times in the last month and a half I've gone, I've taken a first place and 1 second place. 3 first places and 1 second place. So every time I've at least gone to finals with this deck, it's extremely good. And I'm not necessarily like playing against shitty decks or players either. I'm playing against, I guess, more tier 2 stuff than anything. But at the same time, at least they're competitive decks. But for my New Year's resolution, as far as Yu-Gi-Oh goes at least, I plan on going to some larger events, which are really hard to come by in Oregon, which is where I live. So hopefully I'll be able to pay for some stuff and be able to go to a few larger events than this, and maybe make plans and trips to other places in Oregon and maybe California and Washington, just to be able to play more competitively. But regardless, I guess I'll go over my matchups from Saturday. Saturday I played round 1 Gravekeepers, and it was my only loss all day, which really sucks losing round 1. The deck doesn't have a really good matchup against Gravekeepers, and I just drew no monsters, so that was the thing. I took it to all 3 games at least, but I still lost, so I was a little salty about it, and it's kind of sketchy, like I said, to lose in the very first round, because then you have to win all your matchups after that, which is kind of a pain, mostly just to top. So yeah, I ended up going 3-1 in my 4 rounds of Swiss, so I went out undefeated after that first loss. And round 2 I played Junk Doppel, and he made Quasar game 2, but I sweeped him the other 2 games, so I 2-1 that matchup. And then round 3 I played Ghost Tricks, which ended up taking 3rd. His only loss being to me twice, which I thought was hilarious. So yeah, I 2-0'd him, and it was pretty easy. The viruses, again, put in a lot of work. And round 4, I got paired with a younger kid whose record had been good enough because he'd been lucky to be paired with his siblings. Regardless, it was a really easy match. So, not much else to say there. Like, he was very inexperienced. His deck was nowhere near good, so it was pretty easy. And he gave me the win after game 1, so it doesn't matter. And then going into top 4, I played the Ghost Tricks again, and I 2-0'd him again. Like I said, viruses destroyed that deck. I made him go -4 off an Eradicator once, made him go -4 off a Deck Dev once, and I think I made him go -5 off an Eradicator, just off of the activation. So the viruses are just ridiculous against that deck. Deck Dev hits every monster except like Ghost Trick Ghoul in the deck for the most part, and if you call spells or traps correctly, you're going to hit something. So Eradicator is just really, really good like that. And so, again, another easy win. I mean, Ghost Tricks is a good deck, but regardless, it did not have a good matchup against me. And then going into the finals, I ended up being paired with it was just the worst because I got paired with the other Dark World player. And Dark World Mirror is like the worst thing ever in Yu-Gi-Oh! So it was just a big pain in the butt, and I ended up winning it anyway. I was a little bit more experienced. I was more prepared for the matchup than he was, and his build was extremely inconsistent and weird. He was playing things like Cocky and Morphing Jar in the main deck, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? So, I mean, he had gotten lucky and gone undefeated all day, so I don't even know how, but I ended up beating him anyway. So, congrats for him to taking at least 2nd, but I took 1st. I had the potential to possibly play Evil Swarms and Constellars there, which are pretty common in my area. There's at least 3 Constellar players and 2 Evil Swarm players, I believe. I also have the deck built, but I don't play it at a locals because it doesn't, I don't know, I just don't like it as much. And this deck has been winning, so enough said. And I also, at the tournament, had a chance to play a Blue Eyes deck. It's like a Blue Eyes Turbo deck, which is really, really trollish, and I didn't like. But again, like, I can pretty much beat that deck 9 times out of 10. It's a good deck, but it's not good enough. And I also had the chance to play Black Wings, like the completed, like tier 2, like kind of better version of the deck, which I typically beat. So all the other matchups that I had potential to play against, that are, I guess, better decks, I wasn't really too worried about going to the tournament, and I typically beat them anyway, and I've beaten them in the past, so just pointing that out. To show you what I played the standard sort of, the 9 Darkhold monsters everybody plays, and I am sorry for the camera work because I'm having to hold it with one hand. So I played the 3 Graphas, the 3 Snows, and the 3 Browse. That's pretty dang standard. Like, you should see these in every single Darkhold deck, all in 3s, because they are essential to the deck in comboing out, and that's pretty much all I have to say on them. They're just that good. And then I played 1 Beige and 1 Silva. Silva is really helpful to get the viruses off in the deck, which is really, really good, and sometimes it can put those extra beats in for game, which is really, really nice. Or just helps you maybe, OTK, or I'm sorry for the noise in the background, my family's home. But yeah, just sometimes the extra attack is really, really helpful, and you can discard it to bounce a Grapha sometimes, which is really helpful. And then the same thing with Beige, but he can be normal summon, which is why he is in here. I know that some people playing viruses like I do in the main deck would play 2 Silva, but that's really, really inconsistent, and Silva can be dead, so I don't like playing 2 of it, because it's more of a chance that it'll be dead. At least this, I have a 50-50 chance of something not being completely dead. Excuse me. So that's a thing, and I know people that will just play like 1 Beige or 1 Silva in the main, and that's it. But I like playing 1 of each because it's versatility and it keeps the monster count up, because you don't play a lot of monsters in Darkholds. I think I only play like 14. So that's a thing. And then the 2 Tour Guide, because when I was playing it's at 2, and I really wouldn't change this in Darkholds because it's really inconsistent at 3, and I know I've seen way too many Darkhold decks playing 3 of this, and they're like, I play 3 Tour Guide, and I'm like, no, don't. It's really conflicting with Drag Down to the Grave and Skill Drain, and if you're really cycling out your deck really quickly, you're going to run out of Browse. So, I mean, it can search itself, but sometimes it's not the best option, and it can be pretty dead. So, again, for consistency issues, I'd only play 2. And plus, I'd have to cut something for the 3rd one, which I don't feel like doing. And then the 1 Malefic Stardust Dragon, this card was amazing all day. It's a virus target for both viruses, and it can be summoned into Skill Drain even if a field spell's not on the board, which is really, really useful. It helps me make Tachyon Dragons. Just really, really good. And it was really funny because I was playing this main, and 2 other people that were there had also main decked this card. And so I ran into an opponent that was playing Malefic Stardust twice. So had to kind of play against my own sort of card there. That was a little funny. And then going into spells, I played the 3 Gates of the Dark World, most broken field spell ever. The 3 dealings. Both of these are searchable, so they're absolutely amazing. Your field spell really keeps you in the game. Stupid shit like Colossal Fighter will kill your Grapha over and over and over again without this on the field, so sometimes it's really necessary. Because I don't play Lance or anything like that, can lower my opponent's attack. And then the dealings are your sort of like generic discard outlet. And then you have your 3 Drag Down to the Grave, which puts in so much work. Especially with the viruses in the deck, you can really just drag down a trap out of your opponent's hand and then call spells, and then hit potentially more cards, or at least they won't have the trap that they could have possibly played. So drag down's really, really good with the viruses, and just discard outlet for your cards and make your opponent lose key pieces of their plays. Being able to take your opponent's field spells or dark holes or something like that was really, really good all day, and absolutely love drag down. And it's just so funny because so many people hate the card. And then the 3 Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin makes this a 37 card deck, so it's pretty much essential because this deck can be really inconsistent. And the thing with Upstart Goblin is you're either going to draw into the cards you need, and you're not going to give a damn about the 1,000 life points off of each one that you'll be giving your opponent to draw cards, because you're either going to really sack your opponent hard most of the time, or you're going to flat out lose anyway because you're going to draw something stupid, and the life points won't matter. So that's just my thoughts on Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin is a really, really good card in the deck. So playing it at 3 is almost essential. And then the 1 Dark Hole. I like Dark Hole over Book of Moon. because I'd rather be able to take out my opponent's board if I've gotten into a situation where I'm basically top decking, like off of a Reckless Greed. I'd rather draw this if I don't really have a board, and at least I can take out my opponent's stuff and help me live a little bit longer, rather than a Book of Moon, which is just like stop one monster. And then the one Foolish Burial, on Saturday I didn't see this all day, which is really, really annoying, because you basically lose this deck by not finding your Graphas and putting them in your grave and being able to bounce them. So not seeing the Foolish Burial all day was a pain in the ass, because that's what really helps with the deck and getting to see your Graphas in the grave. So it would have been nice to have seen this, and I probably would have gone undefeated had I seen it in the first game, but regardless, Foolish Burial is amazing. The one main deck MST, I really like maining one because I usually hold it because I can usually see my opponent's hand off of a Deck Dev, an Eradicator, or a Drag Down, so I know what they're going to want to set, and I can typically use this to hit something crucial. So this hit Royal Decrees all day, it hits my opponent's field spells and other dumb stuff, so Mystical Space Typhoon was amazing. And if I kept this set long enough and my opponent went for it with their own MST and I chained this to their trap card and like blow up a trap that was non-chainable, then I'm happy because they lose their MST basically and I destroy their card anyway. So MST is just a great card, but I just don't have room to play other multiples. And then I played one Cheerful Coffin. Cheerful Coffin is a discard outlet that just doesn't draw, which is the only drawback to this card, but at the same time, like, it's live more than anything else. Like, it's more live than a Darkwold Lightning or another card like that, which, I mean, I might swap this out for, but because Darkwold Lightning is a really good card, and it would also kind of work as another MST. It can also hit set monsters, but regardless, Cheerful Coffin was really good, and I like the explosiveness of it because you can discard up to 3, so discarding like 2 Snows and a Brow is ridiculous. So Cheerful Coffin's amazing, but it just really depends on when you draw it. So Cheerful Coffin's good, but not, great. I wish I had card destruction still. This deck would be overpowered as shit. And then the one Gateway. Gateway is freaking amazing. It just lets you bring back stuff for virus targets, lets you protect yourself a bit, and helps you bounce your Graphas because you can chain this to your opponent's end phase or activate it during their end phase, and then special summon a level 4 or lower Darkwold monster like a Snow or a Brow or Beige during their turn, and then during your turn bounce to your hand for a Grapha. So keeps your hand live in that regard and can help get virus targets out if you need to virus your opponent really bad, or can at least protect you. So one Gateway in the main deck is pretty awesome. And then the one Allure of Darkness, just more draw power in the deck, and it can get rid of dead Malefic Stardust or Tour Guides, so I like the one Allure in the deck. And then for, sort of the generic traps, I only play the Compulse. Compulse is a really, really good card, and I think it's the most versatile in this deck because you can use this card to bounce your own stuff back to your hand to recycle. Like if I Reckless Greed it into nothing, and I can Compulse my own Grapha back to my hand and use the field spell or something to draw more cards to try to get myself out of a situation. It's good, and I make my opponent go minus because I will destroy a card for them. And being able to Compulse my opponent's XYZs is really good, but at the same time, like, this doesn't help against certain things that can be unaffected by spells or traps. So that's kind of a pain in the butt, and sometimes Solemn is better. Sometimes Bottomless is really, really good, but most of the time, like, I'd rather be playing the Compulse, and Compulse has just been amazing. Right before the September format came out, I was playing 3 Compulse in the main deck, and it was absolutely crazy. And unfortunately, it went to 1 because people figured out how good it was, but that's just a thing. And then I played 1 of each virus in the main. I don't play any more than 1 deck dev because it's either going to hurt the deck and I only have to play it once and win, or like, it's just stupid against the deck. Like, Evil Storms just does nothing, and Constellars this does nothing, so I just side this out. But Eradicator is just amazing overall, and which is why this one's at 1 and this one's in Unlimited, where I can play 3 of it, but nobody gives a shit about deck dev, so Eradicator for the win. But at the same time, they're both really, really good in the deck, and the fact that this deck can utilize both and just like makes this really good. And I cut the Bottomless and the Solemn for these because these have the potential to make my opponent go minus more than 1 card, and Solemn pays 2,000 as cost, and I already have to pay for skill drains, which is 1,000, so I really don't like depleting my life points any more than I have to. But at the same time, like, because I can make my opponent go minus, like I said earlier, like against Ghost Tricks, I made him go -4, -4, and -5. So, like, it's absolutely crazy what these cards can do and the work that they put into the deck. And these just kind of add the stall factor to the deck, which makes this deck really, really good. Because you don't have to play like other traps, really. You can just buy your time with those and then pretty much win after that. But sometimes they're not enough, and for when they're not enough, you always got your Skill Drain. Skill Drain is your best friend in this deck because it hurts nothing except your tour guide, and Skill Drain just is going to wreck everything in the format coming up. So playing a deck that will be able to main deck us like 2 Skill Drains, like I don't play 3 because you see this card often enough because of all the draw power in the deck, but the 2 Skill Drain are a definite must, I believe, going into the next format as well. There's just so many decks that will get absolutely wrecked by a Skill Drain, and if you can put this on the field and they don't have an answer to it, like, that's kind of game sometimes. So, I mean, Skill Drain is just an amazing, amazing card. So, not much else to say on Skill Drain. Skill Drain is just going to be good, and you guys are going to see that later, because it's probably, if it gets as much play as I think it will, it's going to get hit and go down to 2 or 1 coming up on the list after the January format, because it's going to do some damage. And then the 3 Reckless Greed. I'm planning to take this card out as in an alternate build and play Appropriate instead, as well as 3 Dark Bribe and a 1 Day of Peace, which is a really, really trollish build. Appropriate, basically what it reads is every time your opponent draws a card when it's not their draw phase, you draw 2 cards, but you can only activate it when your opponent draws a card other than draw phase, and then you draw 2 cards. The only problem with it is you can chain it to things like a Dark World Dealings, but the last thing to happen is them discarding, so it misses timing and you don't actually draw the cards, it just face up, and it's a continuous trap. So it would allow me to literally put 2 of them on the field and play a 1 Day of Peace, and then I would go +5 off of a 1 Day of Peace. So it's absolutely crazy, and it's really, really fun in the deck, but you have to, like I said, play a lot of traps. So it's really hard because you have to play, like, I think I have the deck list built on Duel Network. If you guys want to see it, I can show it to you because I can't think of everything off the top of my head, but it's the build that I'm planning to take into the new format, just because Dark Bribe can hit spell cards like Dark Hole and Tenki, and if I can make them just draw instead of being able to search, sometimes that's really, really crucial, especially against things like Bujins. If they don't open Yamato and you just make them draw into like a Lance or something else that's dumb, and they have to, and they didn't draw a Mikazuchi, they're kind of screwed. So Dark Bribe is a really good card, and I think it's going to see a lot of play in the format. So being able to play 3 and actually go +2 off of it in a deck is like crazy. So, and you'd be playing 3 Dark Bribe. In the extra, I play 1 Dark Highlander because I side the tour guide. Most of the synchros are going to be taken out when I do get better XYZ sort of stuff, because that's what I typically make more, because I only side in 1 Fabled Raven every time I do, so I never really make them, but they're here as options. So Dark Highlander is a really good level 7 synchro, and he's a fiend, so he gets really, really tough. He goes up 100 more attack than a Grapha will. The 1 Red Dragon Archfiend, just a beat stick. I like the 8s in the deck more than the Dark Highlander. The Dark Highlander is there if I ever needed a 7, but basically, like, if I make one of these, I'm either going to attack with it, excuse me, jeez, and like just go for damage, but if I have a Grapha and a rank 8, like a level 8, I'll just make a Tachyon Dragon or Heliopolis, something of that sort. So synchros are just there, I guess, and if I do decide to Fabled Raven and have enough monsters on the board to make a level 8, and then I could make a Tachyon Dragon, because Tachyon Dragon's OP. The 1 Scrap Dragon, this is my favorite as far as like rank, I keep wanting to say rank, level 8s synchros that I've been playing, because I can use this card to make a Tachyon Dragon after I activate its effect. So I'll destroy one of their back row cards and take out my field spell for a game, because I won't need the field spell with the Tachyon Dragon, and then just be able to attack twice and negate my opponent's monster effects with the Tachyon Dragon. It's kind of crazy. So, and the 1 Stardust for the Malefic Stardust is kind of self-explanatory. And then for 3s, the 1 Leviathan just put stuff in the grave, just because he can detach right on the first turn. He's like the best for that. Giga Brilliant sucks. The 1 Tempo, I never really need this card. But Temtempo was there as an option. He's a Fiend, so it's really fun to put him at 2,000, which is kind of trollish, but he can be really helpful sometimes. The one Levier, Levier is amazing in the deck, and this version doesn't really need more than one, just because you're only playing the 2 tour guides, so not a huge deal that I only have one in here, but it's a really amazing card in the deck. Acid Golem for game is a thing, and if you've already bounced your Grapha first before going into your tour guide, and then you make, because you can't special summon while this is on the field, except under Skill Drain, so this card is also great in tandem with Skill Drain, but being able to attack for game, put another free like 3,000 beater on the board is pretty crazy, so love in that regard. And then the one Wind Up Zenmaines to finish off the 3s, because it's just really good generic rank 3 and helps you protect yourself if you don't have anything else. And then for 4s, the one Papal Operative, just a good card in general. It really stops like face down defense position stuff, and then except things like Raikou, which are dumb, but sorry, but Photon Papal Operative is pretty good, and it's seeing a lot less play because people are mostly putting things in attack position, and nothing really goes in defense as much, except like Dragosack, which is seeing less play as well because dragons are gone. So this card will probably get taken out, as well as maybe the Black Ship of Corn, because I never make this either. So Black Ship of Corn is just a good generic rank 4. The one Utopia, which should be a Maystroke, which is in the mail, which I didn't have, and I wish I kind of did, because I had the chance to make a rank 4. I ended up making a Papal Operative at the tournament, and Maystroke could have been a lot more helpful, because I still could have killed whatever they were making, as well as being able to protect myself a little bit, which would have been nice, and I can banish it with the field spell once it hit the grave, so that was a thing. But Utopia's in here for now. The one Steel Swarm Roach is pretty good, and again, it's a Fiend, so it can go up to 2,200, which would make it a deck dev target as well, but I really don't care for that. I like being able to stop special summons, so that's nice, but it only stops, it doesn't stop inherent special summons, I believe, so cards that special summon themselves by their own effects it doesn't do, but it'll stop Synchros or XYZ plays, which is nice, but I never make it, typically. You really don't need the extra deck very much in this, but except for maybe rank 8s and the rank 3s, and then the 4s are more options. And the one Heliopolis, really good, just be able to take stuff out, and you contribute himself to pop more cards, like being able to bounce Graphas so easily allows you to make this card really abusable, just be able to take out like most of your opponent's board and just bounce Graphas and kill them, because you really don't care, especially with Beige, so Heliopolis is a thing in this deck, it's amazing. And then to round it off, I played the one Tachyon Dragon, which is absolutely amazing. If I'm not under Skill Drain, I'll make this, and this typically can mean game. So Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon is way overpowered, and it's my favorite rank 8 to make with this deck. And then onto the side, it was a locals, and my side is kind of like meh, so I just kind of threw stuff together. The one Fabled Raven, just a good discard outlet. It's mostly in here over Trance, because it's an out to Consecrated Light, which is something you could run into. The one Book of Moon that I'm not maining, which can be good, but kind of meh. The other two Mystical Space Typhoons, and my side is in mixed match sleeves. They're just white, so I really don't care. The one Trap Stun, because Trap Stun's good, and turning off your own Skill Drain's good, so that's Trap Stun. The two Rivalry. Rivalry of Warlords is really good against Evil Swarms and Constellars, which is why it was in here. But it's probably going to go out for Gozen matches, I believe, because I really hate running into Plant Dragons and other stuff. But Rivalry is just as good in a lot of situations. So I don't know. As of yet, we'll see how the format goes. 2 Light Imprising Mirror, because you can play this card like crazy and it doesn't matter because it doesn't hurt your deck one bit. And then 2 Imperial Iron Walls, because sometimes I don't want my opponent banishing my stuff, and sometimes I don't want my opponent being able to banish their stuff, so if I'm going to play this, I'll typically just side out the Allure of Darkness, because it'll be dead with this, and I'll side out like one other card that's been like kind of dead, like maybe the Cheerful Coffin, if it's not being very helpful. So yeah, Imperial Iron Wall is just a good side deck choice. It's a pretty decent meta call, depending on where you are as well. 2 Dark Smog, mostly for the mirror with the Darkhold, because I was expecting it. And against Evil Swarms and Constellars again, Evil Swarms is a pain because I can't bounce Graphas with it, with Ophion on the board, but at the same time, like, Grapha's an out to Ophion anyway, but I like being able to banish their stuff when they target with a Kyrkion or Sombre, and then making them miss timing, or at least getting their stuff out of the graveyard, like their causes for Constellars, so they can't do anything. And then the other two generic traps I'm not main decking. Solemn was really helpful against the what's it called? I'm just blanking it right now. The Junk Doppel. So yeah, because I didn't want to making Quasar, and this is like the only thing that can stop it. I'm really sorry for that long pause, but I just really drew a blank. So Solemn Warning is really good. It also works against Constellar Mega, because it'll just make itself immune to other traps and spells. So Solemn Warning for the win. It's one of the best traps in the game. And then the Bottomless also goes in against Constellar and Evil Swarm. Those are two popular decks, I guess, that are just a pain in the butt and I don't like running into. But that's it for me, guys. That's kind of the deck that I've been playing. I know this video is kind of long, but at the same time, I think I explained a lot of things and a few choices I made. So I think it was worth it. Hopefully you guys will see more of these videos from me in the new year, and hopefully I'll be able to go to some bigger events and maybe play some different decks for you guys. I am getting a job, so hopefully I will be able to afford that sort of stuff. But regardless, hope you enjoyed. Tell me any changes you might make to the decks. I'm willing to test just about anything. If you guys want to see the alternate build with the appropriates, and maybe even some dual network videos if I can record them with it, or maybe some Dev Pro or YGO Pro, whatever you want to call them, let me know in the comments below. I can typically respond to just about all the comments. So that's it for me, guys, and peace out.